All right, next up, Jordan Terrell. So after spending years in the nonprofit sector, Jordan developed a passion for serving people. When Jordan got his real estate license in 2017, his passion continued in real estate as he maintained a service-driven approach, which he enacted in every real estate transaction. Jordan's passion for real estate began early as he bought his first investment property at the age of 25, and he hasn't stopped since. Since his first transaction, the trajectory of his success has only grown. In his first year as an individual agent, he exceeded his own goals by closing $12 million in sales in his first 6 months. In his first full year, he closed over $34 million in volume. He now runs a successful team of 22 licensed agents and 10 full-time staff at the Jordan Terrell Group, and they're with Real Brokerage. In 2022, Jordan's team is on track to do over $250 million in total volume. Jordan's leadership and tenacity for real estate has led his team to great success and growth. His passion and vision only grow with each year. Welcome, Jordan.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me here. I wanted to show you this video just to bring up a point here that this business is not just about what we do. It starts here and it starts here. And it's what happens between there that actually creates the businesses that we run. In 1997, Steve Jobs was brought back to Apple after he was fired after creating Apple. And he was brought back on board and he had to reinvent the company, and he released an ad. And you may be seeing this ad where he showed some of the greats of the world. You see these Gandhi, Martin Luther King, some of the greatest artists, some of the greatest philosophers. And he talks about the people who think differently, the ones that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are actually the ones that do. So I want to talk more about what happens between here and here. I could talk about tips and tricks and all those kind of fun things, but I really want to dive into the mindset of what makes our businesses work. See, I remember when I got into real estate, it was 2017. I had just quit my other job, and I had a few skill sets, and the only place that those skill sets would work was in real estate. And the problem with that is I hated realtors. I really did. I was like scared. I was like, a realtor's like a used car salesman. I don't want to be that. And I was really struggling with that. And as I stepped into the business, I read all the, I watched the videos, I went to the trainings, I did all the things, I sat down with some really successful people, and I said, how do I start my business? And I remember this one person I really respected sat me down and said, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to sit down, you need to make a list of all your sphere clients or all your sphere people, the long list, and then you need to meet with all of them, and then you need to drop this line on them. What's it going to take for me to be your realtor? And so I tried it. I started scheduling lunches and coffees and all this kind of fun stuff. And I remember I got about 10 of those meetings in, and every time I dropped that line, it was like the DJ where the record stops. And they just looked at me and they were like, who are you? You see, I used to be a pastor back in the day. And whenever I would go out and hang out, I might be at a bar or something. Yes, pastors can drink alcohol, at least the world I lived in. And they'd be like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a pastor. And they would be like, I'm like, so I thought maybe if I became a realtor, then that would change. And then people would be like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a realtor. And they'd be like, so either I'm the common denominator or I just choose weird jobs. I don't know. And so as I look at this idea of thinking different, what's the common denominator between all those people, the Muhammads, the Martin Luther Kings, the people that actually changed the world? They were crazy enough to actually be themselves. See, thinking different doesn't mean that you have to adapt to everything else. When I got into real estate, there was a model of how I was supposed to do it, and I couldn't fit into that box. You see, there's a lot of things I can do, But if I look at all the self-help realtor booklets and go to all the conferences, and there's a lot of tips and tricks that we can do, but if I try to fit into that mold, it's not me. So thinking different is actually just being yourself. So if you want to find out, because what happened when those people were themselves, they just were bold enough to walk in that, what happened is they actually changed the world. They achieved the highest level of success on accident. And so I had to figure out one common thought, which is real estate plus Jordan equals what? Real estate plus Jordan equals what? And you can fill in the blank for yourself. We are not adapting to become something called a real estate agent. We're taking real estate agent and adapting it to who we are. And if we can walk in that and find that, I really believe that you'll find yourself serving people in a different way. Because when we truly are walking in who our authentic self is, we find ourselves earning trust from clients quicker, right? You see, I can't be like Brett. Brett's funny. He's going to stand up here and make you guys laugh. I'm not. I'm handsome. He's not. So, here's the reality. Here's the reality. You know what I just did? I just made a joke to someone who's funnier than me, and he's coming up next. So he's going to get me back. So here's the reality. Thinking different means being yourself. If you can be yourself, real estate plus you equals what? You're going to find yourself in a place where you can authentically present yourself in the best possible way. How do you see Grant, you're going to have to teach me how to do this. There we go. See different. So how you see different matters. There's this huge market right now, and it really stinks, and it's challenging. And I think back to 2008, because when I wasn't in real estate, but when I got into the business, I started interviewing a lot of agents, and I started asking them, hey, what was your business like in 2008? 8 out of 10 told me that they almost quit, or they did quit, or whatnot. But there was a few people that I talked to that said, my business got busier. I said, how? What was? And they said it was all mindset. They looked for the opportunity. They saw differently. Why some of us, we find ourselves in this crushed place, we can look for opportunity. The way we see, there's always opportunity. People are always moving. People have to move. But if we see differently, we're going to be looking for it. But if we just, if you spend all your time looking at the news, you're going to be overwhelmed by that and crushed by that. But if you actually just go out there and make something happen and see and look for it, you can actually see a huge result. Mindset is a choice. You choose how you see this market. Last year, we found ourselves, or in 2020, most of us got just pummeled by the COVID, right? I found myself in a position where I was like, I don't know how we're going to sell a house. I remember even calling Brett, and I'm like, what do we do? And he's talking with people at DMAR and who's working on behalf of us, trying to talk to the governor to see if we can be essential services. And I'm like, how's this going to work? And I remember thinking, man, I don't think we're going to sell any homes this year. And I have staff and payrolls and all kinds of stuff. And I quickly thought, all right, we gotta see differently. And so I said, all right, team, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to try to sell houses. We're going to call everyone in our database. We're going to call every one of our past clients, and we're just going to get on the phones every day and call people and check on people and see how they're doing. What do they need? Are they healthy? We didn't even talk about real estate. That's all we focused on. And by the end of the year, we sold more houses than we've ever sold. 2021 hit us. Inventory problems, challenging market. My team is a little younger. We don't do, not a lot of listing agents in my world at the time. And there's not a lot of inventory. And if you don't have a lot of listings, it's really hard to survive in a low inventory market, right? So we had to see differently. And we had to navigate that market. And we kept our mindset right. And now we find ourselves in 2022. Because from 2020 to 2021, we doubled our business. And from 2021 to 2022, we're up 90% Q1 over Q1. We have 80 million pending and closed already. And I don't know how we're navigating this other than our mindset and the way we're looking at it is we're just seeing differently. We're choosing to have a different mindset. Act different. You can't act like an agent when you're working with people. We have to think like a homeowner. We have to think like a human. We have to act differently. We have to put ourselves in the perspective of an actual person. People don't want to be treated like a commodity. They want to be treated like a human. So when I'm meeting with people, I'm trying to understand what's going on in their life and what do they really need. I'm focused more on what can I give than what can I get. I take the commission off the table because I truly believe if I help enough people get what they want, I ultimately get what I want too. So my only mission, my only focus when I'm acting and when I'm being myself is to figure out how to give people exactly what they want. And if I can help them get there, maybe I'll get taken care of it in the process too. We have to act differently. We have to sell differently. I think we are taught often to be salespeople. And what is sales? Is this ability to convince somebody of something? I just don't like to sell things. I like to partner with people and understand what their mission is and what they're going through. Focus on helping, not selling. I think if we can just go into these ideas, these clients, these meetings, these situations, and fully understand what they're doing and what's going on in their world, we'll actually be able to partner with them in that problem. Before I go to a listing appointment, I typically will, the day before, will call them and have a 10 to 15 minute conversation. I have the listing appointment, but I don't want to walk into that listing appointment unless I know exactly what the situation that's going on. Who's ever walked into a living room of somebody's house and it's a listing presentation, and all of a sudden you find out that you're in the middle of a couple who've just filed for divorce, and you're like, "How's everybody going?" That's a problem. And that's a hard situation. And if I show up as a salesperson, I'm not helping very much. I'm a problem solver in that moment. So what I do, I often will call the day before, have a 10-minute conversation and say, "Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I'm so excited to come over tomorrow. I just wanted to do a little prep work on my end. I don't want to show up unprepared, and I just have a couple questions for you." And I'll ask them some different questions, motives, and what's going on, and what upgrades have you done, and what do you think your house is worth? How much do you owe? But ultimately, all I'm trying to figure out is what am I walking into so I can show up not as a salesperson, but as a problem solver. Because now I can focus on what can I give them versus what can I get from them. Because if I give them the solution to their problem, I will get a tip at the end, right? So we have to focus and we have to sell differently. And then finally, we have to be different. We have to be different. There's 25,000 agents in our market. There's a lot of agents. And there's some big coaches out there in the country that are telling a lot of agents to do the same things. And we have to separate ourselves. Sellers right now want options. They want solutions. If we go in there and we simply say, "Hey, I can throw a sign in your yard, I can sell it, and I can charge you 6%. What else? What else can you do?" We try to present as many options as possible. We try to solve problems. We can sell it traditionally. We can loan you cash. You need 10,000, you need 100,000. We can remodel your house. We can fix it up. We can make it better. We can do a trade-in program. We can buy your house. I can give you an offer right now. You need a place to stay in the meantime, we can arrange that. What do you need? Do you need a counselor? We can solve problems, but we can't just show up with a one-size-fits-all because no seller is equal. We have to separate ourselves. We have to be different. We have to present options. When I think about the idea of being yourself, when I think about the idea of truly walking in that idea that you are unique and you are awesome and you are a gift to this earth, if you can fully embrace that and walk in that, and you add real estate to that, it's like when that happens, you'll find a level of confidence because that's who you're made to be. And if you walk in who you're made to be, you actually start to like yourself, and people feed off that. And when people like you, they trust you. And so adapting that, because whoever has been in this situation where you're trying to do the trick that the real estate person said, and you're like, this doesn't feel right. You have to understand, I used to be like the person that people came to with their problems. I was in a church environment, and all of a sudden I'm turning into a salesperson. I can't be a salesperson. I have to be a helper. I have to truly be myself. I have to truly walk in that. And so my biggest encouragement to you isn't a tip, isn't a trick. It's to solve what happens between here and here. Accept that awesome person that you are. Add real estate to that. And then watch how it improves your business. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan.